My dear brothers and sisters, one of the great blessings Allah gives a believer is privacy. Not every detail of your life needs to be announced, explained, or displayed. In fact, sometimes Allah protects you through silence more than He does through words. We live in a time where people feel pressured to share everything, every struggle, every success, every tear, every plan. But ask yourself, did Allah ask me to tell everyone my story? Or did He ask me to trust Him with it? There are things in your life that are sacred. Your pain is sacred. Your struggles are sacred. Your plans are sacred. When Allah tests you, He does not require an audience. He requires patience. When Allah blesses you, He does not require applause. He requires gratitude. Not everyone who listens to you wants good for you. Some listen to compare. Some listen to judge. Some listen to repeat your story to others. And some listen while silently wishing that what you have is taken away. This is why wisdom is so important. Islam teaches us not just what to say, but when to remain silent. Many times we think sharing will heal us. But healing does not come from people knowing your problems. Healing comes when you raise your hands to Allah in the quiet of the night. When no one sees your tears except the one who created them. There is strength in silence. Silence protects your heart. Silence protects your relationships. Silence protects your Iman. When you complain to people, they may grow tired of listening. But when you complain to Allah, He never turns you away. This does not mean you never seek help. No. Islam is balanced. You may seek advice, but only from those who are sincere, wise, and trustworthy. Not everyone deserves access to your life. Not everyone deserves to know your wounds. If Allah has hidden a matter in your life, do not expose it. If Allah is working quietly in your favor, do not rush to announce it. Some doors close because too many people knew what was behind them. Remember, even the Prophet taught us the value of discretion, dignity, and wisdom. Modesty is not only in dress, it is also in speech, behavior, and exposure. So protect your life, protect your heart, protect your journey with Allah. Let people see your character, not your chaos. Let them see your patience, not your panic. Let them see your trust in Allah, not your fear. And always remember, what is written for you will reach you, whether people know about it or not. And what Allah is protecting you from, He is protecting you from for a reason. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the most beautiful qualities that Islam nurtures within a believer is the love for privacy, dignity, and modesty. Allah did not create us to live exposed lives where every detail is displayed and every moment is shared. Rather, He honored us with satr, the covering of our faults, our struggles, and even many of our blessings. This itself is a sign of Allah's mercy. When Allah hides something about you, it is not because it is unimportant, but because it is too precious to be exposed. Allah loves modesty in all its forms. Modesty is not limited to how we dress or how we speak. It extends to how much of our lives we reveal. A believer understands that dignity lies in restraint. When you keep certain matters private, you are not being secretive, you are being wise. There are things that grow best in silence, just like seeds planted beneath the soil. If you dig them up every day to show others, they will never grow. Many people misunderstand privacy and think it means weakness or fear. In reality, privacy is strength. It shows that you trust Allah more than you trust people. It shows that you understand that human hearts change, opinions shift, and tongues can be sharp. What you share today in confidence can become tomorrow's gossip. What you reveal in a moment of emotion can become a lifelong regret. Allah, in His wisdom, did not ask us to expose our sins or broadcast our struggles. In fact, covering one's faults is a virtue in Islam. When Allah covers you, why would you rush to uncover yourself? When Allah has shown you mercy by hiding your mistakes from people, why would you make yourself vulnerable to judgment, humiliation, or misunderstanding? There is also dignity in suffering quietly. This does not mean you suppress your pain, but it means you choose where to place it. When your heart is heavy, pour it before Allah. He is Al-Alim. He knows what you cannot explain. He is Al-Latif. He understands what others might dismiss. People may listen, but Allah responds. In an age of social media, where lives are displayed like open books, guarding your privacy becomes an act of worship. Not every blessing needs to be posted, and not every hardship needs to be announced. Sometimes blessings disappear because too many eyes looked at them. Sometimes peace is lost because too many opinions entered a matter that should have remained between you and Allah. Dignity also means knowing that your worth is not measured by validation. You do not need likes, comments, or sympathy to prove that your life has value. Allah already honored you. Your identity comes from being His servant, not from being visible to people. When you protect your privacy, you protect your heart from unnecessary pain. You protect your relationships from interference. You protect your plans from envy. And above all, you protect your connection with Allah from becoming dependent on people. Remember, Allah sees you even when no one else does. He knows your intentions, your efforts, and your struggles. That should be enough. When you live with this understanding, you no longer feel the need to explain yourself to everyone. You become content, knowing that Allah knows, and that is the highest form of dignity. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the realities of life that Allah teaches us through experience is that not everyone who listens to you wants good for you. This is not pessimism, and it is not suspicion without reason. It is wisdom born from understanding human nature. Hearts are not the same, intentions are not equal, and smiles do not always reflect sincerity. A believer learns to be aware without becoming bitter, cautious without becoming harsh. When you speak about your personal life, your struggles, your plans, or even your happiness, you place something fragile into the hands of others. Some hands will protect it, but many will not. Some people listen out of genuine care, but others listen to compare, to judge, or to gather information they never had the right to know. And there are those who listen while quietly hoping that what you have will not last. Jealousy is real, even among those close to us. The Quran itself reminds us of this reality, teaching us that envy can exist even within families. Not everyone who claps for you is happy for you. Not everyone who asks about your life is making dua for your success. Some are simply curious, and curiosity without compassion can be harmful. When you overshare, you unintentionally give people access to your vulnerabilities. Your fears, your weaknesses, and your private moments can become topics of discussion in gatherings you will never attend. A story you told in trust can travel further than you ever imagined. This is why silence often becomes a shield. It protects you from unnecessary harm and saves you from explaining yourself later. Islam does not teach us to isolate ourselves, but it teaches us to be selective. Trust is precious, and it must be earned. Not every listener deserves your truth. Not every ear deserves your story. Wisdom is knowing the difference between someone who wants to help you and someone who merely wants to know about you. Many times people share their plans before they are complete, and then they wonder why obstacles appear. Sometimes it is not the plan that was weak, but the exposure. Too many opinions weaken resolve. Too many voices create doubt. Too many eyes invite negativity. What Allah has placed in your heart does not need approval from people to succeed. There is also emotional harm in sharing with the wrong people. When your pain is met with judgment, your joy with comparison, or your sincerity with mockery, it leaves scars. A believer learns that peace is more valuable than being understood by everyone. It is better to be misunderstood than to be exposed to harm. This is why turning to Allah first is so important. He is the one who never envies, never betrays, and never misunderstands. When you place your trust in Him, you are never disappointed. People may fail you, but Allah never will. So guard your words. Protect your life. Choose carefully who knows your story. Not because you think everyone is bad, but because you understand that not everyone is meant to carry the weight of your truth. When you live with this wisdom, you find yourself safer, calmer, and closer to Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the greatest lessons faith teaches us is that your tests are between you and Allah. Life is filled with trials, some visible and many hidden, and each one is carefully measured by the one who knows you better than you know yourself. Allah does not test you to expose you, nor does He test you to humiliate you. He tests you to elevate you, to cleanse you, and to draw you closer to Him. When hardship enters your life, there is often an urge to explain it to everyone, to seek reassurance from people, or to justify yourself. But the believer understands that constant explanation weakens trust in Allah. When you turn your test into a public discussion, it invites opinions that may confuse you, discourage you, or pull your heart away from reliance on Allah. Tawakkul is not just believing Allah will help you. It is allowing Him to handle the matter without interference from unnecessary voices. Every test is personal. The weight you carry may not make sense to others, and that is perfectly fine. Allah did not design your trial to be understood by people. He designed it to be endured with patience and faith. When you keep your struggles between you and Allah, you preserve the purity of that relationship. You cry to Him, you complain to Him, and you place your hope in Him alone. There is a special strength in private patience. When no one knows what you are facing except Allah, your sincerity deepens. You are not patient for praise, sympathy, or recognition. You are patient because you trust the wisdom of your Lord. This kind of patience refines the heart and strengthens Iman in ways that public struggle never can. Oversharing your trials can also drain you emotionally. Every person has an opinion, a suggestion, or a judgment, and not all of them are beneficial. Some will minimize your pain, others will exaggerate it, and some will use it against you. This noise can cloud your heart and make your test feel heavier than it already is. Allah, however, gives clarity, calm, and direction. Remember that Allah sees what people do not see. He knows the nights you could not sleep, the prayers you whispered and the tears you hid. None of that is wasted. Every moment of patience is recorded, even if no one acknowledges it. In fact, the reward is often greater when the struggle is hidden, because it is purely for Allah. This does not mean you never seek help. Islam encourages seeking counsel when needed. But there is a difference between seeking guidance and exposing your pain to everyone. Wisdom lies in knowing whom to turn to and when. The heart should always turn to Allah first. When you allow Allah to handle your test, you find peace even before the solution arrives. You learn to say, Allah is enough for me, and truly mean it. And when relief comes, it comes with barakah, because it was carried by trust, not desperation. Your test is your journey with Allah. Protect it, honor it, and know that the one who gave it to you will also bring you through it at the perfect time in the most beautiful way. My dear brothers and sisters, there is a deep wisdom in understanding that silence is often a protection. Not every situation requires a response, and not every emotion needs to be expressed aloud. Islam teaches us that words carry weight, and sometimes the heaviest burden we place on ourselves is by saying too much, too quickly, and to the wrong people. Silence can save you from regret. A word spoken in anger cannot be taken back. A sentence shared in frustration can change relationships forever. Many conflicts do not begin with actions but with careless words. When you choose silence, you give yourself time to think, to calm your heart, and to allow Allah to guide your response rather than your emotions. There are moments when remaining quiet is an act of strength, not weakness. People often mistake silence for defeat, but in reality, it can be dignity. You do not need to defend yourself against every accusation, nor explain yourself to every critic. Allah knows the truth, and when your intention is sincere, His knowledge is sufficient. Silence also protects relationships. Many homes are broken not because of major issues, but because of unnecessary words. A secret shared outside the home, a complaint spoken to the wrong person, or a private disagreement discussed publicly can damage trust beyond repair. When you guard your tongue, you guard the peace of your family and the honor of those connected to you. There is also protection in silence from the evils of envy and the harm of negative energy. When you keep your plans quiet, you allow them to grow without interfering. Too many opinions can weaken determination. Too many questions can create doubt. Too much exposure can attract unwanted attention. Silence allows Allah's decree to unfold naturally. In spiritual terms, silence nurtures reflection. When you speak less, you listen more, both to people and to your own heart. You become more aware of your intentions, your weaknesses, and your dependence on Allah. Silence creates space for dhikr, for dua, and for inner peace. Many people talk to be heard, but few speak to be guided. Silence teaches humility. It reminds us that we do not have all the answers, and that sometimes the best response is patience. When you hold your tongue for the sake of Allah, it becomes an act of worship. There will be times when people misunderstand you. Silence protects you then as well. Explaining yourself repeatedly to those who have already decided not to understand only drains your energy. Allah, however, never misunderstands. When you entrust your reputation to Him, He defends you in ways you could never imagine. Silence does not mean suppression. It means choosing the right time, the right words, and the right audience. It means speaking when your words will heal, not harm. And when silence is chosen, it becomes a shield, guarding your heart, your faith, and your peace. In a world full of noise, choosing silence is a form of wisdom. And often, it is the quietest moments that bring the greatest protection from Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, many people believe that healing comes when others understand their pain, when they receive sympathy, validation, or constant reassurance. But faith teaches us something deeper and far more powerful. True healing comes from Allah, not from public validation. Human comfort may soothe you for a moment, but divine comfort transforms you from within. When you seek validation from people, you unknowingly place your heart in their hands. Their words may lift you today and break you tomorrow. People grow tired, they become distracted, and sometimes they fail to respond the way you hoped. When that happens, the pain does not disappear, it multiplies. But when you turn to Allah, you turn to the one whose mercy never runs out and whose attention never fades. Allah knows your pain even before you find the words to express it. He understands the depth of your wounds, the complexity of your emotions, and the weight you carry silently. You do not need to explain yourself to Him. A tear, a sigh, a broken dua is enough. This is why the heart finds peace in worship, even when circumstances remain unchanged. Public validation often creates dependency. The more you share, the more you feel the need to be heard again. Slowly, your healing becomes tied to reactions, likes, comments, messages, or expressions of sympathy. When those reactions decrease, you feel empty again. This cycle weakens the heart and distracts it from the true source of strength. Allah invites you to come to Him directly. He does not ask you to perform, to impress, or to justify yourself. He asks for sincerity. When you place your pain before Him, you are not seeking attention. You are seeking guidance, relief, and closeness. And this closeness itself becomes healing. There is also dignity in private healing. When your growth happens quietly, it is pure. You are not improving for people's approval, but for Allah's pleasure. This kind of healing strengthens Iman, builds resilience, and nurtures patience. It teaches you that you are never alone, even when no one knows what you are going through. People may offer advice that does not suit your situation. They may unintentionally minimize your struggle or compare it to theirs. Allah, however, tailors His mercy to your exact need. He gives strength when you feel weak, clarity when you feel lost, and hope when you feel broken. Healing through Allah does not mean you never speak to anyone. It means Allah remains your first refuge, not your last option. You may share selectively, but your heart stays attached to Him. You understand that relief may come through prayer, through time, or through unseen doors opening in your life. When Allah heals you, He does so completely. He heals the heart, not just the moment. He replaces pain with wisdom, loss with growth, and hardship with closeness to Him. And when that healing comes, you realize you never needed public validation. You needed divine connection. So turn to Allah, speak to Him, trust Him. In His presence, your heart finds the peace that no audience can ever provide. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the greatest forms of wisdom a believer can develop is knowing who deserves access to their life. Not every person who asks about you needs to know your story, and not everyone who smiles at you is meant to walk closely beside you. Allah created people with different levels of understanding, sincerity, and maturity, and wisdom is recognizing where each person belongs in your life. Your story carries weight. It holds your struggles, your dreams, your mistakes, and your growth. When you share it with the wrong person, it can become a burden rather than a blessing. Some people do not know how to handle what they hear. They may misunderstand your intentions, misinterpret your words, or misuse your trust. This is why Islam teaches us to be careful with what we share and with whom we share it. Seeking advice is encouraged in Islam, but advice should be sought from those who are grounded in wisdom, compassion, and sincerity. A wise person listens without judgment. A sincere person wants what is best for you even when it is difficult to say. A trustworthy person protects what you hear and does not turn it into conversation for others. These qualities are rare, and that is why not everyone qualifies. When you choose the right people, your burdens feel lighter. The right listener does not rush you, does not dismiss your pain, and does not push their own agenda onto your situation. Instead, they remind you of Allah, encourage patience, and help you see clarity without exposing your vulnerability. Many regrets in life come from speaking too freely. Once words leave your mouth, you cannot control where they go. A believer understands that silence, combined with selective sharing, preserves dignity. You are not obligated to explain your decisions, your struggles, or your healing process to everyone. There is also wisdom in knowing that some matters are best kept entirely between you and Allah. Even the wisest human cannot replace divine guidance. When you begin with Allah, your heart is anchored. When you involve others, you do so from a place of stability, not desperation. Choosing carefully who knows your story protects you from unnecessary harm. It shields you from gossip, envy, and emotional exhaustion. It allows you to grow without pressure and to heal without interference. Allah does not require you to live an open life to be sincere. He requires honesty in your heart and wisdom in your actions. When you protect your story, you protect your peace. And when you share it wisely, it becomes a means of guidance rather than harm. May Allah grant us insight to choose our confidence wisely, protect our hearts from harm, and keep our reliance firmly on Him. My dear brothers and sisters, as we reflect on all that has been said, we come to understand that guarding our personal lives is not about fear, secrecy, or arrogance. It is about wisdom, dignity, and trust in Allah. Not everything that happens to you needs to be shared, explained, or displayed. Some matters are protected precisely because Allah wants to nurture them away from noise, judgment, and harm. When you learn to keep your struggles between you and Allah, your heart becomes stronger. When you choose silence over unnecessary speech, your peace increases. When you stop seeking validation from people and turn fully to Allah, your healing becomes deeper and more sincere. And when you carefully choose who knows your story, you protect not only your emotions but your faith. This path teaches you that Allah is enough to listen, enough to heal, enough to guide, enough to defend you when you are misunderstood and strengthen you when you feel weak. People may come and go, opinions may rise and fall, but Allah remains constant. So walk your journey with dignity. Let your character speak louder than your words. Let your patience be seen through your actions, not your explanations. Trust that what Allah has written for you will reach you in the best way at the best time, even if no one else knows about it. May Allah grant us wisdom in our silence, strength in our patience, and peace in relying upon Him alone. Ameen.